This is a great fried rice recipe to get you started. You can use a lot of pantry items. A lot of people have rice during our quarantine time, and this is a great way to use rice other than just doing what you regularly do. And also I'm using frozen vegetable and sort of pantry items so that this is pretty easy to do while you don't have a lot of access to fresh food. Want to follow along with the recipe, I have it posted on my website. So this is hand drawn by me. I hope you enjoy. It's dashofsoy.com/recipes. You have to use day-old rice for any fried rice that you are cooking. So I have about 2 cups, and then I have about 1 cup of frozen vegetable. And then is fresh ginger root. Chinese cooking, at least the way I have been taught, is that we are not too precise with measurement. And so I think I said 1 inch, and really it's like a chunk. So I'm gonna just do, this is pretty generous chunk. I'm going to not do anything fancy with it, but to smash it. So what I'm doing is cut it into sort of chunks and then just smash, kind of the 4th thing. This is optional as well. This is Sichuan preserved vegetables. Okay, what I am using today is about 1/4 of a cup, so just a little bit. So you can see how you can kind of tell it's like a vegetable that has been shredded. So because I'm lazy, I got the one that has been shredded already. So I'm just gonna take this out. A lot of people find this too salty and they would rinse it ahead of time with cold tap water and then kind of just squeeze the liquid out. I actually like strong flavor, so I'm not gonna do that. And I'll teach you a little trick on how to kind of take out the sharpness of it. But I am just going to run my knife through it, so excuse me. So just small chop, about 1/8 of an inch. So I'll show you roughly. So the reason why I'm chopping it small is because I don't want to have a big, because this is a sharp, crunchy bit that I'm adding to the fried rice, I don't want to have a random big chunk of saltiness exploding in my mouth. So I like it slightly smaller, but I also not finely chopped, like too finely, because then it kind of disappears. So a fine balance, if you can see, something like that. So 1/8 of an inch. So that can go into my bowl. And the way that so the tip I wanted to share to take away a bit of the sharpness from the preserved vegetable is to add a bit of sugar. So 1 teaspoon would work. So just sprinkle that on top, and then it will, I'll do a little mix, but basically just mix it around, and then it's good to go. Okay, so now we are ready to make the sauce. So fermented tofu is the highlight, the secret to this fried rice. To make the sauce, really simple. 2 teaspoons of this fermented tofu. So it can't, because it's tofu that has been fermented, as the name suggests. It comes in little cubes. So this is probably good for a 2 teaspoons, maybe a little bit more. I'll get the brine. Okay, so 2 teaspoons of that. 2 teaspoons of sugar. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And this is just regular cane sugar. You can use whatever, some white sugar would work. 2 teaspoons of water to help it mix around and dilute the flavor, because it's very pungent, as I mentioned. And then a teaspoon of light soy sauce. So if you have whatever soy at home, I would say just use what you have. Okay, and then a dash of soy, a dash of toasted sesame oil. This is another staple in Chinese cooking. So just a dash of that. That should do. Okay, and then you wanna kind of gently mash that tofu to make it into a sauce. Doesn't have to be too well done, because this will dissolve and kind of blend into your fried rice as you are cooking. Okay, so good to go. Now we are ready to cook. So as I was mentioning, we want to hay wok. So the key thing to a good way to prep your pot is always turn the heat on. Let the pot warm up to temperature. So what I have here is, because I have a cast iron, it keeps the heat really well, and I don't have to have it too high. And because we're stir frying, we want to use oil that can take high heat. So I am using grapeseed oil, and it already tells you that it's good for high heat. Avocado oil, canola oil. I tend not to use peanut oil, but that works too. But just not sort of really fresh extra virgin olive oil. Okay, it will burn, and so you smell that burn before you start cooking. So not recommended. This is the one that if you want to do more stir frying, is to get a high heat oil. Okay, pretty good. Again, cast iron takes a lot of oil, so I'm doing 2.5 tablespoons. So I just put the same oil in a squeeze bottle because I hate dripping oil. So this is perfect for me. Okay, so you can tell the pot is hot, and I'm going to throw in the ginger to infuse the oil with ginger flavor. So it's going to get loud, which is great. Not too bad. Okay, so a little carrot got into my oil. Okay, so at this stage, to do a proper hay wok, you just let the ginger kind of hang out in the oil for a little bit. And if you like, you can also use your spatula to press down on the ginger to really get the juice out. And a lot of people will probably keep the ginger in the rice, which is totally fine. Like the way I mashed or smashed the ginger today, they actually are, not too big, which is good. So I might leave a little bit in there. In fact, you can do a really simple fried rice with just ginger and salt. And it's supposed to be really good for your digestion, because ginger is very good for you. And it's sort of like a food therapy that my mom sometimes would do if I have a stomachache. And so you can do that too. So now, I wish you can smell this because it's smelling amazing. So I'm going to take some of the ginger out. If you love ginger and this is making your heart ache, don't watch. The first thing I put is frozen vegetable. If you're going to make this your own version, the concept is you want all your ingredients to be dry-ish before you add the rice. So you might need to do it in stages just to get rid of the moisture of your ingredients, and then do it in stages, so one at a time. So a quick tip, a bit of a secret on how to remove the frozen vegetable taste to probably what many of us are using right now, is to add Shaoxing rice wine, Chinese rice wine, or in Cantonese is Xiu Heng Zhao. A little goes a long way. Just pour a bit into the cap and then pour it on the outside. I tend to think of adding wine to cooking as human putting a perfume on. So it kind of removes, it makes your dish definitely more fragrant, but it also takes away sort of bitterness, some frozen taste to your vegetable. Even fresh vegetable, I add wine because it helps take away some of that bitterness and grassiness. Okay, so I want you to see it's completely dry. All you see is oil, a little bit of oil, not too much because of the cast iron. So I am going now to put the preserved vegetable. You can see how the sugar has melted. So very quickly, I'm just gonna put that in. This one is already cooked, so it's not a big deal. Do a quick stir, and then in goes your rice. Basically everything else is in except for the sauce, so it's ready for the rice now. Okay. I'm gonna turn the heat back on a bit. Okay, so at this stage, you want to give it a quick stir. So fried rice is one dish that you definitely want to have everything ready when before you start cooking, because it goes quite quickly. You don't want to be scrambling and looking for things. So I am using the spatula to break down the grain of rice. And notice that I can probably have a little bit more oil because it's sticking to the bottom. So part of me actually do like the crunchiness at the bottom, but I also want, okay. I also want it not to stick. So just a little bit more oil will do, because my pan is pretty well seasoned. So now it's ready to put the sauce. So just drizzle the sauce over. This is going to finish the rice very beautifully. So after you add the sauce, then just give it a stir, and then it's ready to go. So this is a home style fried rice. So it's a little bit moist because we don't have the benefit of a really hot wok that you can do like a quick stir. So this is delicious from not only the umami flavor from the fuyu, from the fermented tofu, but as you're biting into it, you get that sort of surprise crunch from the preserved vegetable, but also a lot of vegetable that you add in it. So it's super delicious. The question earlier, if you want to make this not plant-based, is when you cook the meat, you cook it before, kind of when I was doing the vegetable. So you want to fry up your meat first to get that cooked, and then take that out, and then kind of do it in stages, as I mentioned. If you want to add an egg, once you're done with all that, then pour the egg into a clean pan. You don't have to wash it, kind of just make sure there's not bits and pieces in there. Put the egg in there, crack an egg or two, and then put the rice immediately before it sets. And then you start stirring like crazy, like stir frying. And that would coat the rice with egg, and you get a really beautiful golden fried rice. Once that's done, then you can add back vegetable or meat, and then that's how you do fried rice with egg. It's one way. You can also do a scrambled or do like a thin pan fried an egg, and then cut it up into really nice julienne, and then sprinkle that on top. Many different ways to do it, but thank you for the question. Yes, we had that question before.